Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We're going to start our lesson off today by watching a very short video, so if you don't mind grabbing the lights, that'd be great. Here we go.
It was amazing. Just Riley and me forever. For 33 seconds. I'm Sadness. Oh, hello. I'm Joy. So, can I just, if you could, I just want to fix that. Thanks. And that was just the beginning. Headquarters only got more crowded from there.
Very nice. Okay, looks like you got this. Very good. Oh, that's right. Look out!
That's Fear. He's really good at keeping Riley safe.
Easy, easy, huh? Bye back! Oh, we're good. We're good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And we're back.
Here we go. All right, open.
This looks new.
Think it's safe.
What is it?
Okay, caution. There is a dangerous smell, people. Hold on, what is that?
This is disgust. She basically keeps Riley from being poisoned, physically and socially.
That is not brightly colored or shaped like a dinosaur. Hold on, guys. It's broccoli! Well, I just saved our lives. Yeah, you're welcome.
Riley, if you don't eat your dinner, you're not going to get any dessert. Wait, did he just say we couldn't have dessert?
That's anger. He cares very deeply about things being fair.
So that's how you want to play it, old man? No dessert? Oh, sure. We'll eat our dinner right after you eat this. Right. Here comes an airplane. Oh, airplane. We got an airplane, everybody.
So good. So our topic today is going to be on understanding the emotions. Yeah, please grab the lights if you would. Thank you. Let me get the PowerPoint pulled back up here. There we go. Perfect. So let me ask the question, why do you think we have emotions? And I want you guys to spell out answers. I'm going to write them up here on the board. Why do we have emotions?
Well, they're an outward expression of what we're feeling.
Good. Let's give her some support snaps, everybody. Support snaps. Good. Next one.
To protect us?
Good. Support snaps. Thank you for sharing. Go ahead.
I went blank. I thought of protecting, like they allow us to move. They regulate us, I guess maybe is the word.
Very good.
Could I add that it's just a natural outlay of, it's a part of us. It's who we are as people.
That's what I was thinking, kind of just this part of being human. We have all these emotions. It's a part of who we are.
Very good. That's wonderful. So let's talk about some distinct emotions. So in the video we saw several different things there. We talked about fear. So why do you think we have fear? What is its purpose?
Keep us safe sometimes.
Very good. Very good. So fear is our alarm system. It's a basic response to danger and signals the need for immediate action or attention. And so let's look at an example here. And I want to have someone read that, if you would, out loud, please. Anybody?
Imagine you are crossing the street with a friend. Suddenly, a car comes screeching and careening straight toward you. Without thinking, you jump onto the sidewalk and pull your friend to safety away from the oncoming car.
Very good. So we see a situation. What do you see them thinking in here? What was their thought? Anything?
It's just automatic, just suddenly, boom, getting out of the way.
So without thinking, actually, it was
Right.
very instantly. There was probably some belief going on in a deeper level, like, hey, there's a car, get out of the way. What do you think they were feeling? Obviously, we know what.
Anxious.
Fear.
Fear. They experienced fear. And what did they
Someone would be
do?
hurt, yeah.
They
Act.
responded quickly.
Really
They got out of the way. Very good.
Almost without thinking. I mean, like I said, without thinking, literally it happens so fast.
Very well. Let's move on to the next one, sadness. Why do you think we have sadness at times? This is one of those emotions that we typically don't want to feel. We avoid.
I
Anybody?
don't know that we have a choice. to feel it or not feel it, I think is part of our emotions. Something happens that takes the joy or the feeling of pleasure away.
I love the saying
Anybody
that
else?
says you wouldn't know happiness unless you understood sadness too, or had sadness. It's almost like they're
Two sides of a
like
coin.
that. Yeah.
So we've said that we do have it and it's unavoidable, really, but what's its purpose?
I think I like what you said because we go to highs and our system needs to take a time out. And I think sadness is a time out from highs. Even for good highs or bad highs, like the time out, it's like, okay.
That's very good, and sadness is actually part of that. It's the immediate need or the need to withdraw and to have a reduction of activity going on in us so that mourning can take place. Very good.
Something disappointing. It relates to I wanted this, I didn't get this. So it kind of alerts me that I'm disappointed about a goal or something I had, you know.
Absolutely. Very good. It also signals the need that we need to reach out to someone perhaps and get some support, some
Yeah, hey,
social
I need the
support.
click, the click
There you go.
Yeah, look at it.
Encouragement, support. Very good. Let's do another example. And again, let's start beginning to pay attention to what they're thinking, what they're feeling, and what they do. So if someone would read that, someone else, please.
Imagine you find out that a very close friend or family member has passed away. You will probably feel intense sadness and a great sense of loss. You are also likely to feel as if you have no energy and find it difficult to focus on anything except for disorganized thoughts of your loved one and how you will cope. You may also feel numb and that the loss hasn't really sunk in.
Good, do you see that? What is the person's thought life like during this?
This is
it's
pretty
causing them to
important.
contemplate and to dig deeper or to think.
Yeah, and as it says here, it could be very disorganized, you know, between thoughts of a loved one and how am I going to deal with this? What do they feel? Physically feel? Obviously it's sadness, but what are some of those physical feelings you see in there?
Numb.
Numb, good. What else?
No energy.
No energy, good. And what do they end up doing? Is there any doing here or behavior?
Yeah, they sort of, I'm thinking probably go inside. They, I'm losing the word, but
Internalizing.
yeah, they're rejecting everything around them. They're sort of just internalizing everything they're into themselves.
So they're withdrawing.
That's the word I was
Yeah.
trying to think of.
Very
I
good.
want to come, yes.
Very good. Anxiety. Now, anxiety is a little different than fear. Anxiety is a future-oriented state. It's about the future, something, you know, it gives us an opportunity to, we have to cope, we have to deal with something that's coming up. It signals the need to reduce activity again and refocus our attention. It's because there could be a possible threat or something coming that we need to deal with.
Or
And so let's-
perceived.
Perception, yeah, exactly. Let's do it. Someone else read this example. And again, thoughts, feelings, behaviors. Let's begin to look for those.
Imagine they have a big presentation coming up at work or school, which is going to be very important for your job or grade. Naturally, you would start to think about it more often as the date approaches, and you might even start to feel anxious. So you begin researching the topic. Maybe you even work late to make sure you have gathered all the information you need. You prepare the presentation and practice it several times. You even anticipate some of the questions people might ask so that you know how you might respond.
Great, thank you. So what is this person feeling physically? Anything there did we find out?
Yeah.
What?
Certain uneasiness, like probably like butterflies on the stomach.
So good, some symptoms of anxiety happening. Okay, what are they thinking? Do you see anything thinking going on?
Thinking what might happen, what could be asked, what the future.
They want to prepare so whatever comes that they have the answer, so the anxiety comes from lack of not knowing.
And so what do?
They prepare.
Prepare. Exactly. Do you see how this is very purposeful and meaningful emotion that we need in everyday life? And we all experience this. This isn't something abnormal. This is very normal. It's very part of everyday life. And one of my favorites from the video, anger. So what's anger's purpose?
Did you say no ice cream?
Exactly.
Or dessert, whatever you said.
I think the purpose is to claim our place and space, to say that something's not right.
Very good.
Anger.
Very good. Very good. Good job. Yeah. Gotta be consistent on that. The snaps, support snaps. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, go
Sometimes
ahead.
anger, we don't display it. Sometimes we keep it inside though.
How come do you think?
It's not appropriate to display, and our anger may not be appropriate either. And so,
It's not
but
acceptable.
sometimes I think personalities also, depending on what the situation is, we just might have a tendency not to display it.
Well, we could go really deep into that, but that's not what we're going to do today. But that's a really great discussion for another time. What do we do with that? If we're feeling this, what do we do with that anger?
I can't do that.
Very good. Yeah, so it is exactly as you said. I've been wronged, I've been victimized, or it's a perception of that. And the anger is, I've been mistreated. And so let's do one more example. Someone that's not read before.
Imagine that you discover your utility company has been charging you extra fees for services you aren't using. When you call the utility company for an explanation, you're told by the customer service representative that these hidden extra charges have begun to incur late fees, and you are now expected to pay the utility company a large amount of money, money you not only don't have, but also is needed to pay for food and rent for your family. You angrily demand to speak to the customer service manager, demand an explanation, and demand for the charges to be reversed.
Very good. So we see the situation. What does he begin to think?
What he needs to do.
Well, he's thinking that he's being mistreated.
Exactly.
Yeah,
This is not fair.
wronged, like you said.
And he's feeling angry. Any other physical things we see going on inside of him with the anger? Or can you imagine what that might feel like?
Be charged up.
Mhm.
Good. And what does he do?
He acts.
Yeah, he speaks about it, displays it.
Very good.
Mhm.
So you see the purpose of the anger and other emotions, it does propel us into some action of some sort, whether we
Good or
withdraw.
bad.
Yeah, yeah. And so we have to mature these things, have to learn to regulate them. I like that word. So here is the question. What is an emotion? We've looked at why do we have emotions, and we can see the purpose of these emotions, but what exactly is an emotion? Anybody? And this is where you're going to get the snaps.
A signal.
I like that.
Very good.
I like that.
Signal. What else?
Can I use the word feelings? No, because that's just one of them. Can I say?
What's a feeling?
It is an internal response to something.
Very good.
A response.
Good. So we have a signal and a response, an internal response. Good. Anything else? Anybody else?
Information. It's
Very-
telling you something.
Very good. Thank you. Information, a signal, an internal response. One more.
So
It's a
external,
reaction to
it's what you do with the feeling.
So it's a behavior. It has some kind of action or behavior.
an outward expression.
As a result. Yeah.
Very good. Good job, Randy. Thank you. So here's what we got. Oops, wrong direction. So it does include my thoughts, what I think. It's actually an experience. It's not just a anger or sadness or anxiety or fear. There's some thoughts to this. What am I thinking? There's also some feelings, some physiological feelings, like what am I experiencing within my body? It's that reaction inside, what I feel physically, and also behaviorally. What do I do? Okay? So I want you to take a moment to think about a situation recently, something that's not on a SUDS level of like 8 or 10, but something that's like a 4, 3, maybe 5, something recently that was distressful that you had an emotional response to. Okay, take a moment just to think about that. And as you do that, want you to take one and pass one of these around. please be sure that you're not going to share this with anybody, so be as honest and openly as you want. Again, something low to moderate emotional distress level. And begin. I didn't say begin, I just wanted you to think about.
Oh,
Think about that
excited.
experience.
We're excited.
Yeah.
I already know.
Okay, once you have that in mind, I want you to imagine yourself reenacting that again in your mind, like a movie's playing. So you put yourself back there, begin to see it happening, look at the situation, begin to see, what was I feeling? What was I thinking? What was I doing? Once you have an idea of that, go ahead and write some of these things down on the thoughts, the feelings, and the behaviors there. Again, you're not going to share this. This one take about 2 minutes, please. About 1 more minute, please. Okay, great. Thank you all. So let's take a moment, and I want you to just, let's openly discuss this situation. What was it like for you to kind of pause, notice what you were thinking, notice what you were feeling, notice what you were doing? What was that experience to kind of just chart that? And just anybody can speak. We're not going to share what we did, but just what was it like to chart that?
When I initially thought about this, when this was happening, I was angry. And now after I charted it, I realized anxiety was a key feeling that was there.
Very good. Thank you for sharing, Brandon. So you had some insight into
Yeah.
what you were actually experiencing.
I should have known that. It took me a few days to process that. And then, of course, this exercise too. Put it on paper. Yeah.
Very good. Anybody else want to share?
I think originally I would have said I was angry about it, but in reflection, it would be more anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
So you had a
More
similar
anxiety.
experience.
Yeah, it was more anxious.
Very good. What does that tell you about this? Anybody?
Perhaps we should be in tune with our emotions and
Yeah,
understand them.
Yeah, it's kind of like it makes me more aware of of different elements of it than I was at the moment. But when I kind of rehearse it again and parse it out, I get more awareness of all the things going on. So.
Very good. Very good. So let's all do this now. Sorry.
Yeah.
Very good, Dr. Guzman.
I think it was forcing me to put down what was I thinking. What I was thinking was more leading to anxiety than anger. I think that's what got it. Was
Great. So we had an opportunity to kind of share what everyone's experience was. Now I want you to take about 2 minutes to do a reflective journal of what the experience was like for you. So that gave you some ideas. Now let's do it on your own. Oh, one more minute with that, please. Looks like everyone's finished. Why don't you pair up and let's share what you wrote with each other. About 2 minutes, please. 1 minute each.
Okay. Sure.
I realized that I was very angry, but now processing it again, I realized that I was more anxious than anything. And I reacted on it anxiety rather than the anger was probably a reaction of
So
that.
when you understand the difference to deal with
And I did something to bring myself to a place of calmness. So I reached out and I understood that it moved me to do something different right away. Now that
So
I'm
the understanding
I'm still not sure how I do it differently.
Mm-hmm.
I have to think about
So
how
it's got you thinking, it's interesting because that's kind of what happened for me. I kind of parsed out the experience more and it led to some additional questions. But it also helped, there was something calming about it too. It's like I got a little more distance from it by parsing out the three different
So then it
pieces.
didn't feel as, the emotion was as strong.
Yeah, it kind of reduced the valence of emotion, allowed me to
the
kind of see the
awareness
different
as
elements
it's
of
at that
it.
the whole
And it led to some questions.
and
you know.
that
And one
I
thing
cannot
I was thinking
disown
was, how
and
client
each
might
other
respond.
was
I'm
like-
wondering, okay, how do I
And
introduce this? I think this is useful for
processing.
me. Now, what about
Like,
how do I,
like Bray's like, oh
is,
God,
would
help
this be
me.
useful for them? Cognitive therapy does a lot of
like
things
that.
like this,
Yeah.
but I'm curious about how I would set it up so they would understand.
Because I think
And
what I noticed
I'm
with
wondering if it would be as useful,
normally
for different types of
somebody
clients
else.
as well. So,
it's somebody's
kind of
probably
thinking
they did that to me
What were
or
you thinking? What
visit, you know,
Yes.
when
Parsing it
indeed
out,
it's
how I
I'd like to
how
watch
I
some videos,
what's
some therapy
happening
videos to
here.
see kind of
Of
how,
course, it didn't
how
happen
they set this
isolation.
up because
But I
it
cannot
seems like
do
a
with that.
useful thing.
All I can deal with this.
But when as I focus on there's a
A
max.
few more seconds.
Absolutely.
I'm at a better place with what I was thinking about. How about you?
Because
Are
we
you
can
in a better place?
put
Or?
it out there, but
I think so. I think it's more,
Yeah.
okay, what does happen again? How, or was it even bad how I handled it? It's costly.
Any new insight come out from pairing up together or doing the reflective journaling that you'd like to share? Anybody?
I gotta share, I thought that was really good what Kelly said. Taking ownership of your emotions.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And not just zoning.
Yeah.
I have
Support staff.
That's hers, and taking ownership.
Yeah, and not disowning, because we disown. We say, oh, this is not proper. So I'm not dealing with it's not proper. But it's proper. Anger is good.
Oh, it's
Wait a
so
minute,
right to
wait a
be
minute,
angry.
wait a minute, and she took it a step further. I mean, I was so good. She said, when we focus on the other person who did whatever it was, we still stay a mess. Because the emotions are still in us and we haven't allowed the emotion because we're focused on the person. And of course, the person didn't care. They've gone on and they may not even remember. So that ownership I thought was really, really good.
Yeah, very good. So would you say you feel at a better place of being more regulated
Oh,
in the experience?
yes.
And that's the whole purpose of the
That's a
Unified
good word. I
Protocol.
think that's what, yeah.
The Unified Protocol, which is the chapter 5, which we're doing right now, and we've read chapters 1 through 4 already, we already see that when people avoid emotion or distressing emotional experiences, that's when the anxiety and depression develop. And it can become clinical. So you were more regulated when you found yourself really looking at the thoughts, the behaviors, and the feelings. Very good. So let's go back to this question that I posed at the beginning. Why do we have emotions? And let's write some new words on here, different color I'm going to use. And let's get an idea of how our ideas have changed. So, pop them out, and we'll do the support snaps. Give me a reason. Why do we have
Give us an
emotions?
opportunity to reflect.
Hope you can all see that. Very good, Melva, thank you.
And connected with what she said is a cognitive response or cognitive process.
Very good, process, I like that word. Very good, thank you. Anybody else?
I still go back to the regulating. And I questioned it even when I said it the first time, but now it's even more so going back because it's regulating us if we do it properly.
So emotions can lead us to a place where we're back at a state of peace or regulated.
Yes.
Very good, so that's a good function of those, very good.
Or emotions can dysregulate us.
Yeah, that can go.
They can, so they can be
On the other hand,
Yeah.
dysregulation. Very good, good job. Anybody else?
complexity, they're more complex than I was thinking before the lesson.
Very good. Very good. Yep. Anybody else? One last one, if anybody has anything.
As
So
a
let's-
counselor, I guess, I think we need to really understand this to help clients not move, to be in the regulation and not move into the dysregulation.
Yeah, that was one thing we talked about a little bit was, okay, now that we're learning this, I wonder how it would be to actually give it to a client
Yeah.
and when and stuff like that.
And that's the whole purpose of learning this unified protocol. It's an emotion-focused, cognitive behavioral approach to helping people with anxiety and depression, which is what this class is all about. So, good. So we have opportunity to reflect. It's a cognitive process, regulation, dysregulation, and complexity. I'm wondering, does this really answer our question why we have emotions, or if this is what are emotions?
Yeah.
What we do with them, what do we do with them, doesn't say what they are.
Does this really tell us why we have them? I think this one is in line. They give us a sense, it's a signal that we need, something needs to take place. It's a signal, so it's for the purpose of regulation. It is a cognitive process, I see that. That's very true. Opportunity to reflect.
Behavior.
They give us an opportunity to kind of
If we're
do
aware,
something.
if we're aware though, but
And
if
it's
we're
how
not
we're
aware.
created. I mean, it really, it goes back to we were created
To
to
have-
have these emotions,
Yeah, it's
to be
kind of part of
relational.
our physiology, our humanness. Or something.
We don't have a choice, it's not something that we accept or reject, they're there.
Yeah, it's part of our makeup. And they are very complex.
And that's why I think it makes
That's
it complex.
what they are. They are
Yeah.
complex.
So would it be
Very good.
safe to say that we haven't said why we have them, but we've said the purpose that they serve?
That is why we have them. There's a
Mm.
purpose, there's a
Purpose for
function of them, and I think we've explored some of those reasons. And so the last question I have for you, what are the three components of emotion? Tell us.
Cognitive,
Thoughts? Yeah.
Feelings,
Feelings, and what does that mean?
behavior, action.
well, it's what,
Thoughts
yeah,
and feelings, actions?
the emotions.
Feel and behaviors, yeah. What are feelings?
Actions, well,
No, it's the emotions, it's the actual external,
the flesh,
The physiological
physiological,
response.
thank you.
That's it. So how we experience those. Very good.
Thank you,
Good job. So that is it. The emotion is made up of thoughts, physiological feelings, and behaviors. Thank you all for your time. Good job. Appreciate it.
Thank you.